There is a perennial anxiety amongst parents, all of whom were also once students, about how to teach children math. But mathematician John Mighton wants you to know that not only is math important, but that it's possible for everyone to be good at it. Seriously. He is the founder of the charitable organization Jump Math, where the JUMP stands for Junior Undiscovered Math Prodigies. And he maps this all out in his new book, All Things Being Equal, Why Math is the Key to a Better World. And he brings John Mighton to our studio. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Fantastic little book.
Oh, thank you.
Full of so much stuff. So, we're told that we can be good in the arts or sciences, but not both. But you're a mathematician and an award-winning playwright. How can that be?
Well, I think humans are pretty ignorant when it comes to observing ourselves. 50 years ago, a lot of people thought women couldn't do math, which is just nonsense. And we had slavery 150 years ago or less. We look at people who can't do something and we just assume either they aren't suited for it or they don't have the right capacity or intelligence to do it.
Is that what you mean when you say that math can allow us to think and act in more rational ways?
Oh yeah, it's hard to create fake news in math. Everyone can agree on math because it can be reduced to principles that everyone understands. And that's what the research is saying. Math should be accessible to everybody. And we would have much healthier political debates if people understood probability, risk, how to construct sound arguments. We would have a completely different world and political system if people understood mathematics.
Well, you talk in your book about how people have this assumption that to be good at math, you need to have some sort of innate math sense that can't be taught. Where does that idea come from?
Well, I think because it's pretty easy to struggle in math. Once you fall behind, it's often hard to catch up. You can fake it in a lot of other subjects and get by, but in mathematics, once you fall behind, unless you get a tutor or someone to help you, you're probably not going to catch up. And very early, kids start comparing themselves to each other and deciding who's smart and who isn't.
How early do they do this?
By grade 1, they know if a teacher has different expectations of them, even if it's a great teacher. We're very good at knowing where we are in a pecking order at a very early age.
And once we figure that out, what happens then?
Well, once you decide you're in the inferior group, you know from your own experience, you stop working hard, you make excuses, eventually you even start developing anxieties about the fact that you're falling behind and you can't do well. Mm-hmm. And so it's a vicious cycle because then your brain doesn't work. You can't remember anything, you can't engage or really think through problems. It's a terrible cycle to fall into.
You write something that's really interesting to me. You write that everything in our present education system, quote, seems designed to make real knowledge scarce and keep the deepest ideas out of the hands of all but a few. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at any subject, math, for instance, we did one study where as early as grade 5, even in a really strong private school, there was a 3 grade level difference between the top and bottom students. And parents are paying money to produce that difference. And this is universal everywhere. You have the high flyers and the kids who are struggling. A year later, and this was reported in the New York Times, we equalized the classroom. The teacher made everyone feel equal, supported them as they needed, and a year later, the lowest mark was in the 95th percentile, the average in the 98th. Like the bell curve had completely closed. Mm-hmm. So we have this myth that in every subject, there's always going to be high achievers, and the rest of us can pick another subject or just get by.
Mm-hmm. So, and then I'm guessing that leads, because we have this system right now where, students who it doesn't have to be math, it could be any subject. They tend to be streamed to a lower level. Why do you think that educators believe that's the thing to do?
Well, it's a complicated problem because it does make sense. If you've fallen behind, the research says you need to be given a review, and you need to have the basic conceptual building blocks, built up so you can understand more complex things. So you need to do that, and that's, I think, why kids get streamed. But it's, again, a vicious cycle because once they get streamed, they stop engaging. So we've shown that you can do that review up to grade 8. Our program goes to 8. We've shown you can embed that review right into regular lessons and very quickly in any area in math get up to grade level. We've demonstrated over and over again that this is possible. And that's the only subject. I once taught a grade 6 class where many of the kids were 3 years behind. By the end, they were all happily engaging in problem solving.
What did you do that was different?
I just caught the few things they were missing. I'll give you an example. I asked them to make all rectangles of perimeter 12. you know, if you remember perimeters, distance around.
I just got a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress.
Like a lot of people. And I was going to do some more complicated problems, but I got a huge shock. 20% of the kids, they do this. They draw one side 1 long, and then they'd make the other side 11. They just ran out of perimeter. You know, they got 12, and they didn't know how perimeter wrapped around. So I just had to catch that and a couple other misconceptions, and they were all working at grade level. Now, if that was reading, there's no way I could get them reading at the same level in one class. And so I argue in the book that math is a perfect tool for equalizing the classroom, for social justice. Logicians proved 100 years ago that all math can be reduced to steps that any brain can understand. They did brain scans of mathematicians recently. They thought they were using very high-level semantic processing and language areas of the brain. It turns out mathematicians like myself are using a very primitive part of the brain that has the same sense of space and number that kindergarten kids do. So why is math inaccessible to everybody?
I just want to pick up on that comment you just made about social justice. How can math help to create a more equitable and civil and prosperous society?
Right. I mean, it starts right in the classroom. I once taught a behavioral class in a very violent inner city school in London, and I taught the kids how to read binary codes. And they went nuts. I mean, it was the first time someone treated them like they could do this advanced math. And they wanted longer and longer codes. And on the third lesson, when we came in, we were doing fractions. The kids cheered. And these are kids who were thought to be unteachable. So within 3 lessons, these kids were totally engaged. Their behavior had changed. And they were starting to think and be proud of themselves. So that's the first step, is if you can empower kids to think they can learn anything, to solve any problem, then they're going to have a different academic trajectory. And the research connects numeracy to health outcomes, to your financial health, the health of the economy. If we made the same kind of investment we're making in literacy and also enabled teachers to use evidence-based methods of teaching, we would just dramatically change people's prospects in life.
The people who seem to get the blame for our children not understanding math are teachers. Is it fair for our teachers to be blamed for that?
No, and we've worked with thousands of teachers in jump math, and I can guarantee that teachers want to help their kids, and they want methods of teaching that make sense to them. And there's not enough freedom for teachers to select the methods they're going to use, and to select methods that are based on really rigorous research. So for instance, in JUMP, we participated in 2 randomized controlled trials. If your program isn't willing to undergo that kind of research, then you have to be careful. You know, school systems have to be careful when they insist that teachers use these programs. So teachers aren't to blame, and we've seen that when they're allowed to use evidence-based methods, they get phenomenal results.
And you write about structured inquiry.
Yeah.
What is it, and why do you think it's the way to teach math the best?
Well, the research in cognitive science has shown that we suffer from cognitive overload, that our brains, even I can't deal with 1 or 2 things at a time when I'm learning math, and I'm a mathematician. So we easily are overwhelmed. We need more practice, and practice doesn't have to be drilling kids. They can, if you make practice interesting, where they're always solving one problem and going on to the next, they'll practice forever in math. They love doing math. So if we teach in a way that doesn't overwhelm the brain, and we keep kids in a zone where they can struggle but not too much, and where their brains can work efficiently, then everyone can learn. And so structured inquiry means always asking kids questions. They're doing the thinking, not you as a teacher, but making sure those questions are structured so that they can make a connection or a discovery and move on to the next thing and consolidate their ideas before they move on.
When we talk about cognitive science, why aren't teachers more exposed to cognitive science when they are learning to become teachers?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, you know, in a lot of fields, we don't look at the science, and that's starting to change. There's a huge movement among teachers. There's a conference called Research Ed where teachers organize themselves, and they're now inviting cognitive scientists to come in and tell them what the real research is on how kids learn.
Well, many countries have moved from the traditional method of teaching math to something called discovery method. First, can you explain what that is? What the difference is?
Well, you know, it's also called reform. There's a lot of names, and the idea is generally that people who really pushed for that were afraid that kids were being taught in a rote way, where they're just being drilled, they didn't understand. And so the idea was to let kids discover things.
Like a rote way, meaning like learning multiplication tables, or just long
division, you just memorize a bunch of steps. You have no clue why they're working.
Okay.
And so the discovery movement was, or reform movement was was an attempt to let kids think more, to explore more, and we call jump structure inquiry. It's also called inquiry. I'm all for inquiry. I want kids to be doing thinking. I want them to be making the discoveries, to be understanding, explaining things. But the structure is important. Quite often what happens in discovery-based lessons is that there's not enough structure. The kids their attention isn't drawn to what you want them to see. So I'll give you a simple example in chess. You might think the best way to learn chess is just play the game over and over.
It's not?
It's not, because it's too unstructured. The best way is to start with mini games with just a few pieces. Play that until you can see a position, you can see a pattern, or this is a weak position, I'm not even going to bother thinking about that. And you build up what are called mental representations. You can just look at a position and know what not to do.
Okay.
If you're playing the whole game, you don't learn very efficiently. If you play these mini games that are well structured, you learn much more quickly. And so, imagine everyone had to learn chess. We would be tempted to just let kids play over and over again, because that's what they're supposed to do. That would be the worst thing we could do. The best thing is to guide their discovery, to guide them. And it's the same with problem solving. People give kids these crazy complex problems and expect them to find their level. Whereas if you guide them with structured problem solving, they all get to the same level.
So the thing that I keep hearing is that it's important to have steps. And if you miss a step, then that's where the problems arise.
Yeah, and it's not just even only steps. It's being able to draw kids' attention to things so they can see something. It's unraveling the threads of a concept so they can put them back together themselves. Sometimes it's steps. Sometimes it's just allowing them to play a bit and see something.
There's this general idea that children have very different learning styles. I don't know if you agree with that, but if that is the case, then how do you manage a classroom full of children with many different learning styles?
So that's a difficult question. Kids have different preferences, but in the book I present research suggesting that the best way to teach them is in whatever mode is best suited to the topic. Like, you can't learn a golf swing by writing a poem necessarily. Poems might get you interested in learning it. You have to learn in the way that's suited to the subject. And the most radical claim I make in the book is, because math can be reduced to such easy concepts, all kids can learn at the same rate. And then you get what Durkheim called collective effervescence, when we never feel anything more intensely than as an audience, when we're all feeling something together. And when you have a hierarchy in the classroom, nobody feels that. Math class is boring. But when all kids can succeed together, math becomes intrinsically rewarding. They just want to do math. I've seen kids cheer for math, beg to stay for recess for math. And people would think that's, they can't believe that.
But, well, I know that there's some parents, as a parent, watching this, and we can't believe it.
Yeah.
So if you were to give us some steps on how to help math be easy for our children, what would the suggestions be?
Yeah, and so one of the reasons we were a tutoring organization, JUMP, but we went to in-class because it's much easier to get kids excited together. So it's not always easy in tutoring to get a kid excited. So some of the things you can do are make sure you keep them in a zone where they feel comfortable. Don't assume they're being dumb if you say something. If you give them a complicated explanation, they don't get you the first time. Our brains can only handle one or two things at a time. So don't assume your kid is just being willful or dumb if they don't understand you. I always say to my students, if you don't understand it, it's my fault. Ask me and I'll explain it again. And that's how you have to have the same attitude with your kids.
And we, to gauge where our students are, we have standardized testings, and we also have this, the IQ conversation. When we're talking about determining one's ability, what role does standardizing testing or IQ test play?
Well, that's again a really complicated question, because we're working in the US now, and one of the great things is they test kids every year, and so we're able to show progress. We've had some amazing results on state tests. So they can be useful tests, but in an ideal system where teachers are empowered to use evidence-based methods, the state test wouldn't be so important because you could trust every teacher. And parents and teachers would know what every kid is capable of. You wouldn't have to have this system. In the short term, tests are okay for making sure that kids are progressing, but in the long term, I think we could let teachers handle that more.
What about IQ?
Well, IQ tests measure something, but there's all this evidence suggesting first that IQ is only a small one small measure of the things that predict success in life and even academic success. Also, there's evidence suggesting that IQ is fluid, that it can actually change.
Well, you talk about it at length in the book. If you were told that your IQ is X, that means you can only accomplish X. So why even bother? Is that something that's happening when we talk about math?
Quite often, I mean, whether it's the test scores or the IQ, once kids get pegged at a level, they often stay there, and teachers will judge them that way. And so we've done studies that, like I mentioned earlier, where when you assume everyone is capable of achieving roughly the same things, virtually everyone, then the class moves together. The number one objection we get to that is, oh, you're going to hold faster kids back, you're going to bore them if you try and equalize the classroom. But in the studies we did, the weaker kids outperformed. Even the weakest kids were doing better than what the strongest kids were doing earlier. Everybody moved further together. Stronger kids are being held back in hierarchical classrooms because nobody's brain is working well. And in fact, stronger kids kind of get attached to being really good at math without having to work, which is dangerous for them because later when they encounter difficulties, they give up. Like a lot of stronger kids don't survive in math because they don't learn that you can succeed by working. And when they see all their peers succeeding in math, they think, well, anyone can learn math through practice and I can learn to struggle. It's actually better to be in an equalized classroom than in a hierarchical classroom.
What about the idea of rewarding students who do well?
Well, you should be rewarding everyone all the time. I once taught a grade 3 class in Parkdale, a fractions unit, just as an experiment that was well beyond their grade level. It would have killed a lot of high school kids. These kids were doing complex computations with fractions and understanding them. And the interesting thing is the kids who missed the test begged to write it.
Really?
Because it wasn't a punishment or a ranking. It was a reward. They knew that they would do well in that test. And that's how tests should be used in math.
Because in the book you do write that, we have this idea, if someone does something well, you give them a star. But that actually kind of doesn't work the way that we expect it to?
Yeah, it can. It's a complex issue, but usually when you're trying to get kids to be creative or problem solvers, the worst thing you can do is give them extrinsic rewards. Like they did a study once, a really sad study where kids loved to draw and they started rewarding them and they stopped drawing. So we think that success, overcoming a challenge, struggling and then overcoming it, that should be the reward. And that's intrinsically motivating. And also, I think the greatest loss, we suffer as a society from not helping kids realize their full potential, is that all kids are born with a sense of curiosity and wonder. They'll do anything. They'll struggle endlessly to learn to walk. They're driven by this incredible sense of curiosity and a kind of will to explore things. And that's the biggest loss. We lose that in every subject over time through struggle because we assume these subjects are important. We realize we just can't do them. And I think as a society, we have a huge sense of learned helplessness, which is why we can't tackle a lot of the problems we're facing now, like climate change or anything, because we've just learned that these problems are beyond our capacity as individuals. We can't think our way through them. We can't do anything about them. And so that's the biggest loss. The sense of wonder, curiosity, of self-efficacy that you could solve a problem. And it's so unnecessary.
So we, as a society, need to change this idea of math is hard.
Oh yeah, it's doing inestimable damage. You might think it's funny to say at a restaurant, I can't add this up, or I can't add up this bill, or I can't calculate this percent. We don't know what damage we're doing in passing on this idea that math is only for a few people.
Well, you talk about, we know that children's, the curiosity that they have and their brains are more malleable. What about when we get older? You actually went back to school at 30?
Yeah.
To learn math?
That's right. Yeah, I had to redo all my undergraduate. So that's another beautiful thing about math. I don't think there's any age limit. I've taught people of all ages. I just got a letter from a woman in her 70s who didn't go on in psychology because of stats, and now she's vowed to go back and do statistics. So for age is not a limit? No. No, that's the beauty of math. It's because it can be reduced to concepts or steps that are accessible to any brain, and the research has shown that, there's never an age cutoff. And imagine, in a few weeks, I argue in the book, that any adult, virtually any adult, unless they have very severe challenges, could develop an understanding of percents, ratios, basic algebra, all these things, and could actually apply those things in their life, could read the news and understand what's going on, could understand risk. You know, we had a huge financial crisis because people didn't understand what would happen if their mortgages went up slightly. Mm-hmm. We have an environmental crisis now because people can't add up the consequences of their actions. You know, if you were going to buy a car and 98% of engineers said the brakes are going to fail, even if 2% said they weren't going to fail, we would take a precaution. We wouldn't put our kids in that car and drive off. We know that we understand risk in that way. We trust engineers. But when it comes to climate change, we're willing to risk the whole planet. Just because 2% say it might not be happening or caused by us. That's because we haven't internalized risk or probabilities. We don't respect them because we struggled so much at school. A lot of people become anti-intellectual, anti-scientific because they think that numbers are just beyond their grasp, and so their fallback is that they're just fake. That's a huge threat to us.
We have 1 minute left, and I want to sneak in this.
Yeah.
You were actually in Good Will Hunting. We're going to show a quick clip. Sheldon, please roll.
Most people never get to see how brilliant they can be. They don't find teachers who believe in them. They get convinced they're stupid. I hope you appreciate what he's doing, because I've seen how much he enjoys working with you, not against you.
Hello, Will. Tom, could you get us some coffee?
There's a backstory in how you got involved in that, but what I found really interesting is that you actually changed the lines that they gave you. Is that true?
Yeah, I asked if I could add a few lines.
Okay, and why did you add those lines?
Well, you know, the movie gives the impression, it was really fun being in the movie, but it gives the impression that you're born a genius or not. And so just to counterbalance that idea, I said, can I add a few lines? And they said, fine, which is very nice of them.
And what message did you want to convey?
Well, that you don't have to be born with ability. It depends on whether you get a great teacher or not, or a great school, or that you're given those opportunities. Mm-hmm. They don't just come out of nowhere. Someone has to give you those opportunities.
And you have to work hard.
Yes, and you have to learn that you can succeed by working.
Mm-hmm. John Mighton, it's been great having you here. Fantastic book. Thank you so much. We've learned so much from you, and lots to get into in the book as well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That was John Mighton, the writer of All Things Being Equal, Why Math is the Key to a Better World. Thanks.
Thank you.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.